bro, if you couldn't get this over with Bray Wyatt, you're not going to get this over with Bo. And it has nothing to do with Bray and Bo. It has to do with the creative team they're working with that doesn't have the intellect to understand what they're trying to do. So I think Triple H was put in a position where he couldn't say no, but he wanted to be able to say, we tried.
Let's talk about the Wyatt Sicks. Both of you have history with members of the Wyatt Sicks, and there's a couple things I want to ask. First of all, a lot of people have talked about how the gimmick is or isn't getting over in WWE. Vince, do you see issues with the Wyatt Sicks right now as far as becoming a group that may be successful in the long run?
Well, you know, go to EC3 first, because I've never worked with any of these people. I mean, I've had some conversations with Sam Shaw. I think that's about it out of the whole bunch.
How about Loomis?
Yeah. EC3 worked with Bray, worked with Bo. So, man, he's given me such great insights on these people. I've got an opinion, but I'm just curious to see what he thinks, because he knows them.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with what's taking place, but I know it started very hot because Vince and I talked about it, and he was raving about it, and Vince is like something like it's very significant that. And then I think our conversation kind of segued into what the issue's going to be when it has to blend back into some sort of reality, or they have to go do wrestling things. The whole shtick is going to kind of, if they don't do it exactly right, and it's a very slippery slope, it will just become another act. And that's what I'm kind of gathering is kind of taking place, which something of that nature seems extremely hard to kind of reinvent the wheel of wrestling and how it's done. But like, you treat it, I don't know, if you treat it completely different, it has a shot to be huge. But if you kind of let it become something that is just like everything else, it's going to be weird. As far as the talent, I mean, you know, Nikki Cross is amazing. Sam Shaw, a.k.a. Dexter Loomis, is one of the, how do I describe him? I don't know. He's like Dexter in real life. So it's really cool to see him succeed. And he's always been a very good guy. Rowan's good to see back. And Bo, I think we talked about this on the show. I don't know, maybe it was Vince and I's show, but Bo, I was saying that he can deliver. And I think especially after everything that's happened, this is the opportunity for him to reach a different level, because he's always been kind of like pegged in sort of like, you know, that little comedic role, whether it was, you know, the B team or the Smile a Mile Long kind of stuff, where this gave him something really deep to sink his teeth into. And then I think that first promo he did where he was being interviewed was like very significant. So I knew he can deliver, because I know how creative he is too and where he comes from. So that's the talent in a nutshell I know very well.
Yeah. You know, Mac, this is what they've done, and I'm telling you this from a writing perspective.
Yes.
Bro, this story opened up with them killing people in the back. There were people dead in the back. Dead. We killed people. That's the opening that EC3 is talking about. Bro, here's what I like to compare it to. So there's a killing spree. 30 minutes into the movie, Jason, Freddy, and Michael Myers take their masks off and become professional wrestlers.
Yep.
That's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. 30 minutes into this story, the monsters took their masks off and hit their opponents with wrestling moves. Guess what, bro? Now we got another wrestling story.
Do you feel like they know where this story is going? I feel like they're guessing week to week.
I'm going to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole again, bro. This is what we play. This is what we play, Mac, when we do a conspiracy. You ready?
Yep.
I'm going to tell you what I think happened.
All right.
I think Bo Dallas went to Trips and said, listen, man, in honor of my brother, I want to do this. I think Bo very well thought this thing out. I think he knew what he wanted to do from start to finish. Okay. We saw, bro, we all witnessed the WWE creative fail Bray Wyatt numerous times, Mac. Yes. Not once, numerous times. Why? Because Bray Wyatt was up here and they were down here. So they could never reach the genius of Bray. So what they do, they pulled them down. So now Bo is pitching the same thing. Now Trips is put in a position, man, he wants to honor his dead brother. I can't say no to that. But meanwhile, he knows, well, shit, this didn't work with Bray. How's it going to work with Bo? You know what I'm saying? So, like, bro, if you couldn't get this over with Bray Wyatt, you're not going to get this over with Bo. And it has nothing to do with Bray and Bo. It has to do with the creative team they're working with that doesn't have the intellect to understand what they're trying to do. So I think Triple H was put in a position where he couldn't say no, but he wanted to be able to say, we tried. Yeah, we tried and it didn't work, Bo. Look what happened. We tried. Yeah, bro, it didn't work because you guys effed it up. It had nothing to do with Bo.
EC3, how many times has creative screwed up your push or your run and anything that you've done in different companies? It doesn't have to be in one particular company, but surely creative has caused you some issues in your time.
I think great creative comes to collaboration, and anything I've done that's been fairly successful, good, great, wonderful, has been because of collaborations with writers who kind of are more like a Vince Russo, who understand talent, has like a talent themselves, can be the best versions of what they're portraying, where a writer can't necessarily write for them verbatim, but a writer is there to be kind of a, I would almost say if it's a hero's journey, they're a mentor and they're the guide to how the story needs to be structured and put in places. The talent can't always be right. Trust me, the term creative freedom in wrestling for wrestlers idiotic and should not happen because wrestlers are insanely vain and insanely self-focused. But great writing with great talent creates collaboration, which creates great art, entertainment, wrestling. So in only one company did I have zero kind of like collaborative input, or anything brought up or brought to attention was thrown to the wayside and completely disregarded. That's the only company I haven't done well in. So
check out BrainBuster, the daily quiz that tests your WWE knowledge with winning streaks, stats, and more. It's time to see if you're up for the challenge.
Vince, were there times where you would write stuff for someone and think this is a great idea, and then the talent just couldn't get on board with you, so you couldn't work together?
No, because I knew the talent.
Yep.
Bro, you know, Mac, when I'm writing the show, when I'm literally at this computer writing the show, I know what their reaction to it is going to be. I know, you know, what they're going to like. I know what they're not going to like. And I already know the conversation I'm going to have with them. I know all that before I even get to TV. So that's because like EC3 said, bro, every talent is different. And when I'm writing for every talent, man, bro, I used to say a big part of my job, well, I was half writer and half psychologist. Yeah. Because I had to understand them, bro. So Mac, when I'm writing something, I'm not writing something that I know a talent is going to totally hate, doesn't fit their character, and not going to want to do. Now, I know I'm writing some stuff they may not understand, and I've got to explain it to them. But, bro, it never got to that point because I'm well aware of that as I'm writing the show.
Yeah, I think it's important for creative bookers, promoters. You can't look at your talent like tools. You can't look at your talent like toys in your toy box. You can't look at talent as just gears in a machine. You have to look at your talent, and this is what when things are great and successful, like individuals with individual wants, needs, abilities, things they excel in, things they don't. And when you have to ask them to do something maybe, I won't say uncomfortable with, but maybe they don't want to do, or Vince would say they're going to hate it, you know that, but you have the reason why and how it turns around later so they know they can feel safe. And you have to deliver it in the end too. But they can feel safe trusting your process because more often than not, it's worked and you've not let them down. So that's very important too.
Vince, was there ever a time you wrote something for someone that they weren't comfortable with and you talked them into it and said, this is going to be great, you got to trust me, and it came through and they're like, holy shit, this was great?
Oh, yeah. Bro, the biggest one was, and I laugh about it today, but I remember Steve Austin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Steve, this is what we're doing tonight. You're driving a beer truck into the arena. And I remember Steve looking at me and saying, a beer truck? Why don't I just drive in my pickup? And I'm like, no, Steve, you don't understand, bro. Anybody can drive a pickup into an arena. You're the only one. And like literally, bro, I had to sell him on that idea. But it was, you know, again, it's like, no, Steve Austin's larger than life, bro.
Yep.
Like anybody can drive their pickup truck in. But yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. You know, bro, here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. And I know EC3 will agree with this. Mac, here's the thing that drives you crazy as a writer. Okay. Wrestlers are the most paranoid animals you will ever meet in your life.
Oh, yeah.
You will ever meet in your life. They don't understand, bro. As the writer, my job is to get everybody over.
Yes.
Everybody needs to get over so everybody could make money. So I'm not writing your character to freaking bury you, bro. That makes no sense. But they're so paranoid. So what happens is the mindset is, bro, they're going to poke holes in anything you write. And they can. You can poke holes in, bro, I could poke holes in Rocky if I wanted to. Oh, yeah. You can poke holes in everything. But that's the part that I always laugh about because, bro, do you not understand my job is to get you over? Not to freaking bury you. But, I mean, EC3 will tell you the paranoia, it's difficult to overcome at times.
I imagine so. EC3, before we get out of here, we got a few more minutes here. I want to talk about the NWA. The 75th anniversary is coming up. And I'm not sure. Is it what, 76 you say?
Yes, sir.
76, okay. Let me ask you, your opponent, the last I heard, you still didn't have an opponent for that night. Has that been announced yet? Have I missed something?
It has not been announced yet, so time will tell.
Bro, it is a conspiracy. They're trying to screw you, bro. If they're not giving you a heads up of who your opponent is and who you need to train for and mentally prepare for, I'm smelling a rat, bro.
I mean, they should know better because all the things I have going on as the world champion, I'm taking that title around the world. I'll be going back to the UK. I'm in talks with other foreign companies and major places. And I don't know if you know this too, but I'm talking to Soft Ground Wrestling in Uganda.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, where they wrestle in a mud pit. I'm gonna go. They wrestle in a mud pit in Uganda, and I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna bring the world's heavyweight championship, and I'm gonna be, other people do it. They do it in kind of like rags and dirty clothes. I'm gonna be wearing my gear the entire time, and then. Recently, they've been tweeting me this intimidating fellow who's just tossing bodies around. So that's very intriguing. But
Mac, let me tell you something. Mac, Let me tell you something, because I know EC3. We have a father-son relationship. Let me tell you something. You laugh at that, bro. He will be in a mud pit in Uganda wrestling in his gear. I'm telling you, bro. I don't know when. I don't know the logistics. If he says it's happening, bro.
I totally believe it. I'd love to see it, too. I think it'd be a hell of an experience for you, especially. And EC3, let me ask you this. Not many people get to carry the 10 pounds of gold. When you won that, did that hit you to realize how the heritage of that belt?
Yeah. Oh, Lottie, it did. It didn't until I had it too, because I kind of went into that with a very business mindset.
Right.
When afterwards there was a bit of emotion and a bit of realization, the nostalgia, the legacy, the lore, how I have all these, like, the ghosts of all these great names now hanging over me. And if you know one thing about me, it's I have to destroy the ghosts, so I have to, like, geez, I got to usurp all of these guys. That's a pretty heavy list, but I plan on doing it. But reality, like, great honor to be a part of that club, and great honor to hold it every day, and I plan on holding it every day until I retire. So
certainly hope so. Guys, I've enjoyed this. I've had a blast. Vince, we did a show earlier. We had a great time then. It just flew by, and it feels like it's done the same thing again here with EC3. So, and EC3 and I, luckily we've worked together before. So it's not unusual, but it's my first time with Vince. And Vince, I certainly appreciate you taking the time and allowing me to sub in for Dr. Chris Featherstone here on the Wrestling Outlaws. And he will be back next week, of course, with EC3 and Vince Russo. We'll see you next week.